Welcome back, Scouts, for Activity 6, Local Maps, Animals, and Walking Like Animals. Hemp Hill, Camino Real, Blanco Vista Elementary, and all others are welcome. We are glad you looked in on our Scout pages. Since we are all home more now, these Scout activities are created for fun at home and keeping Scouting alive during these times of COVID-19. Please join me in the Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Please join me in the Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. A Scout is kind. A Scout knows there is strength in being gentle. He treats others as he wants to be treated. Without good reason, he does not harm or kill any living thing. A Scout is kind.
I like scouting because it gives me an opportunity to get out and hang out with my friends.
Requirement 1. While hiking or walking for 1 mile, identify 6 signs that any mammals, birds, insects, reptiles, or plants are living nearby the place where you choose to hike. Do you remember that as a Cub Scout, you must always do your best? One way is to prepare for hiking by warming up your muscles. To warm up for your hike, walk or jog for a few minutes and then do these stretches. When you stretch, don't bounce. Just move gently until you feel your muscles start to stretch. Quadriplex, muscles in the front of your thighs. Stand up and hold on to a sturdy support. Grab your left ankle and bring it up behind you. With your knees close together, push your hips forward until you feel the muscles stretching. Hold for 20 seconds and repeat on the other side. Abductors, muscles in your hips, bottom, and sides of your thighs. Sit on the floor with your right leg straight out. Bend your left leg so that your left foot is to the right of your right knee. Twist your upper body to the left until you feel the muscles stretching. Hold for 20 seconds. Repeat on the other side. Hamstrings, tendons on the backs of your thighs. Sit on the floor with your right leg straight out and your left leg bent. With your back straight, bend forward from your hips, reaching toward your right foot. Hold for 20 seconds. Repeat on the other side. Hip flexors, muscles in your hips that flex your thigh bones. Kneel on the floor, then position your right leg so that your right foot is in front of you and your right knee forms a 90-degree angle. Push forward with your hips, keeping them as square as possible. Hold for 20 seconds. Repeat on the other side. Calves, muscles in your lower legs. Stand up and take a big step forward with your right leg. Keep your left leg straight. Lean forward a little so that your body and left leg form a straight line. Hold for 20 seconds. Repeat on the other side. With your den or a family member, explore your neighborhood or the area around your den meeting location, or take a 1-mile hike. Bring binoculars and a notebook and pencil to take notes, or a camera or smartphone to take pictures. Be sure to pack your Cub Scout 6 essentials. Cub Scout 6 essentials are a first aid kit, a flashlight, sun protection, filled water bottle, trail food, and a whistle. How to hike. You may know how to walk, but hiking is different. Here are some things that make hiking easy and fun. Look around. Unless the trail is rocky or uneven, stop looking at your feet and start looking at the world around you. Spread out on the trail so you can see more than your buddy's back. Take breaks. Plan to stop for 10 minutes after every 30 minutes of hiking. Stretch your muscles and study the world around you. Make sure everyone gets to rest. If possible, take breaks after you climb big hills, not before, so the hiking will be easy when you start up again. Stay on the trail. Don't go around muddy spots or take shortcuts. This makes trails wider and damages the environment. Walk in single file. If you're hiking along a road, stay in single file on the left side. Wear white or reflective clothing or carry a flashlight. Respect other hikers. Don't be too noisy. If you meet other people, give them the right of way, especially if they are going uphill or are on horseback. As you walk, look up, down, and all around for signs that mammals, reptiles, insects, or birds have been there. Also look for different types of plants. Write down what you see. Here are some things to look for. Partly chewed leaves or flowers that insects or mammals have left. Slime trails that show where snails have traveled. A bird flying by with a leaf or twig in its beak on its way to build a nest nearby. Scratch marks on a tree where an animal has marked its territory. Holes that lead to the underground home of a mammal, reptile, or insect. Animal scat droppings that indicate a creature ate a meal nearby. Your hike log should contain animal signs that you saw, actual animals that you saw, and plants that you saw.
Requirement 3. While on a den or family outing, identify 4 different types of animals. Explain how you identified them. Learning more about the animals that live near you is also an important outdoor skill. The more you know, the more connected you will feel to the place where you live and the natural world around you. Instead of saying, "I saw a butterfly," you can say, "I saw a monarch butterfly with orange and black wings." In learning to identify a monarch butterfly, you might also learn that monarchs, like many birds, fly south in the fall and north in the spring. In fact, monarchs can migrate more than 2,500 miles a year. Requirement 7. Name 2 birds, 2 insects, and 2 other animals that live in your area. Explain how you identified them. Whether you live in a city, suburb, on a farm, by the ocean, or in the mountains, birds, bugs, and other animals live there too. What kinds of creatures live near you? With your parent or guardian's permission, go to the library or on the internet and find information about your local wildlife. Write down 2 types of birds, 2 insects, and 2 other animals that live near you. Birds. Do the birds that you picked live near you all the time, or do they migrate there for part of the year? What do they eat? What kinds of trees or bushes do they like to nest in? Do both the male and female help build the nest and raise their young? Insects. Are there bees, wasps, ants, flies, roaches, beetles, or butterflies near you? Bugs are fascinating creatures. Did you know that bees can fly up to 60 miles a day to gather food? Or that ants can lift more than 50 times their own weight? What did you find out about the two insects that you chose? Other animals. Some wild animals have figured out how to live around people. Coyotes, foxes, possums, raccoons, squirrels, rabbits, deer, and other species of animals may be close by. What kinds of animals live near you? Tell how the animals you studied can be identified. Share what you found out with your den leader or family. Write down the 2 birds, 2 insects, and 2 other animals you learned about that live in your area.
Hi Scouts, welcome to the National Mississippi River Museum and Aquarium in Dubuque, Iowa. We're part museum, part science center, and part aquarium. My name's Jennifer, and today we are going to go learn about some of the awesome habitats found up and down the Mississippi River. Let's go! This is our American kestrel. I don't know if you just heard him twitter there, it's pretty cute. Kestrels are found up and down the Mississippi River. They're one of our most common falcons here in North America. And falcons are what we consider a migratory bird. So what that means is that falcons have one part of the country where they like to spend their breeding season, where they have their babies, and they actually move to a different part of the country for the winter, primarily so that they can find food. Birds move in response to food availability. In North America, we have 4 main highways that birds use to move from one point to another. Along the Mississippi River, we are part of the Mississippi Flyway. Approximately 325 different species use this flyway to move from their breeding grounds to their wintering grounds. Our Mississippi Flyway makes up a massive area. It's going to include Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, the Midwestern states, but it actually extends all the way from Alaska and northern Canada down into the Gulf of Mexico. So the birds that are using this highway to move from breeding grounds to wintering grounds, they actually will travel that whole distance and sometimes even end up into South America. Birds, as they're migrating, they're looking for great spots where they can stop, they can rest, they can spend an evening kind of conserving energy, and more importantly, all these little stopping grounds up and down the Mississippi River provide a lot of animals great spots where they can raise their family, where they can hunt their dinner. So we're going to examine those habitats. Within each habitat, there are a series of plants and animals that create a food chain. We group those plants and animals into 3 main categories. Producers, which are plants, consumers, which are the animals that eat things like other animals or plants, and detritivores, which eat all of the dead things. Let's go meet a few of them now. The base of our food chain is the producer. The producer is a plant that uses the sunlight to make food. Behind me are some great examples of producers, such as this big blue stem grass. I have here an eastern box turtle. This is an example of a consumer. This particular animal loves to eat things like plants and occasionally a large bug. Like most consumers, it's going to be eating plants and other animals. I am holding a crayfish. This is a great example of one of those animals that we call a detritivore. What that means is this animal goes around and eats dead things from the bottom of the river or those wetlands. And that helps actually recycle the nutrients back into the habitat so that our producers or our plants can grow up big and tall and start the whole cycle over again. Here we are at our backwater marsh exhibit. This exhibit actually represents something like a wetland here along the Mississippi River. These habitats are great spots for spotting migratory birds such as waterfowl. Approximately 40% of North American ducks, swans, geese actually use the Mississippi Flyway to move from point A to point B each year. These are areas that are going to have high diversity of animals, high diversity of plants, but they also help us out as people. Habitats like a backwater marsh or a wetland are great at improving water quality of our river systems. These habitats act like a giant sponge. So as those floodwaters come in, that sponge of the wetland can slowly release those waters into the main channel, helping control flood levels over time. The plant roots also actually act as a filter. So as things like pollutants of heavy metals, phosphates, or nitrates come into the system, those plants actually filter it out, and as the water leaves, it's in better condition than when it arrived. This gives a lot of animals great spots to feed, great spots to raise their families. If you look behind me, you'll notice that there's some fallen trees. Places like that are great habitats for fish and turtles and birds to actually have their nests and raise their offspring. When you think of things like the river and the wetlands, humans, we influence them a lot by what we put into our environment. Things like pesticides or rodent poison can actually have a big impact on animals like this barn owl. The barn owl eats about 1,000 mice a year in the wild. So if you are using a rodent poison in your home, you actually could be making the owl sick instead of a rodent. So by being smart about what we put into the environment, we can help a lot of our animals up and down the Mississippi Flyway. Thanks for joining us today at the National Mississippi River Museum and Aquarium in Dubuque, Iowa. Next time you're in town, we would love to show you around campus. In the meantime, adventure on.
Requirement 2. Name one animal that has become extinct in the last 100 years and one animal that is currently endangered. Explain what caused their declines. An animal species becomes extinct when its last member dies. Extinction happens for many reasons, including loss of habitat, overhunting, climate change, or the appearance of a new predator or disease. You've heard of animals like dinosaurs that became extinct millions of years ago, but some animals became extinct more recently. A good example is the passenger pigeon. When Europeans first came to North America, there were billions of passenger pigeons. In the 1700s, a man named Cotton Mather wrote about a flock of birds that was a mile wide and took several hours to pass overhead. Passenger pigeons were an important source of food in the 1800s, and they were hunted nearly to extinction. A few survived in captive flocks, but the last passenger pigeon, Martha, named after Martha Washington, died in 1914 at the Cincinnati Zoo. Not all stories have sad endings. After World War II, the American bald eagle was in serious decline. A pesticide called DDT was poisoning the fish that eagles like to eat and hurting the eagles. In 1967, the species was listed as endangered. DDT was banned in the United States in 1972, which helped eagles rebound. Conservationists also worked hard to breed captive eagles, reintroduce them into nature, and protect their nest sites. By 1995, bald eagles were listed as threatened, which is better than endangered. In 2007, the species was removed from the list of threatened and endangered species altogether. It is still illegal to kill, sell, or possess bald eagles without special permission.
Threatened, endangered, and extinct. Threatened means a species is likely to become endangered if people don't work to protect it. Endangered means a species is likely to become extinct in all or major parts of its natural habitat. Extinct means a species no longer exists. There are many reasons to conserve threatened and endangered species. They contribute to medicine. Many important medicines come from plants. For example, scientists make cancer medicine from the bark of the Pacific yew tree. They contribute to agriculture. Birds and insects pollinate 1/3 of the food we eat. For example, bees pollinate fruit and nut trees and melon vines. Environmental monitors. Problems with animal species can alert humans to dangers to our planet. For example, the decline in bald eagles helped people to discover that DDT was dangerous. Keeping the food chain going. Animals and plants are part of a food chain that provides food for other animals, including us. For example, eagles eat snakes, which eat mice, which eat crickets. If crickets became extinct, mice, snakes, and eagles would all go hungry. John Muir once said, "Keep close to nature's heart, and break clear away, once in a while, and climb a mountain or spend a week in the woods. Wash your spirit clean." Beauty. Nothing compares with the beauty of nature.
Requirement 8. Draw a map of an area near where you live using common map symbols. Show which direction is north on your map. Maps can help you figure out where something is located. They can also help you give directions to other people. Many people look at a map before they start out on a trip so they can visualize where they are going. Some hikers like to look at a GPS device to help them plan their outing. With your parents' or guardians' help, look up a map of your town or an area where you live. Maps use different symbols to show where roads, rivers, lakes, and other large features are located. The map symbols are shown in a key, which is a box that tells what they mean. Look at the symbols on the map key. There's a tree for a park, railroad tracks, road, a house, a bus means school, and a H means hospital. Draw your map where you live using the symbols. Look for a compass on the map. A compass is a circle or a design which points to show directions on a map. North, south, east, west. When north is at the top of the compass, south will be at the bottom. East is on the right and west is on the left. When you draw your map, show which direction is north. It's important to know your address, where you live, and your parents' phone number.
Requirement 5. Do at least 2 of the following: frog leap, inchworm walk, kangaroo hop, or crab walk. Walking like different animals lets you use your muscles in different ways. These are fun exercises to try with your den members. They will also help you move quickly, improve your balance, and get stronger. Hop to it, Wolf!
Join us next time for Activity 7 to learn about building a better world and citizenship. If you're interested in joining a pack near you, visit bascout.scouting.org.